Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to your communication skills class again. We are back again with your writing skills practices. As you know that we are in a process of making you good business administrators, and we are making sure that you know each and everything about business administrations, writing the technical material or writing the business material or writing the occupational material for your business. So today we are going to talk about the resume writing or the CV writing. That is really another very important thing in your business administration schedule. As you know that we are in a writing process and we want to make you good writers of business, particularly talking about the technical kind of a communication that is required for your business administration and business scenario. Now let's talk about the previous lecture before we actually talk about the resume writing in detail. So a quick recap of our previous lecture. As you know, in the last lecture we had been talking about the memorandum writing. We have thoroughly discussed about the memo, that it is kind of the internal or in-house or in-office communication. So let's quickly recap that what is a memo. Memo basically is your internal correspondence that is within the organization or within your office or within the surroundings of the building, where there is no outsider. So basically memo is a kind of a communication, a kind of an intimation, a kind of a correspondence, maybe a confirmation or information about the meeting, maybe presenting any agenda, maybe that's a kind of a letter that is being distributed to the number of people. So memo would move within the company, and regarding the memo we have also discussed that as the memo is going to be distributed within the company, so you don't have to worry about that. You are not going to insert these acronyms and abbreviations and jargons in the memo. They can thoroughly be used, since all of the members or all of the people within the organization are familiar with the acronyms and abbreviations, though related to your work field, that presents any kind of the object or any kind of a software, or that's related to your job designation or the titles of your job designations. Like for example, if the memorandum is going to be about the if the memorandum talks that the memorandum would go to the marketing manager, so in short you can write down MM for marketing manager. If that has to go to the assistant program officer, you can simply write down APO. If that has to go to assistant professor, you can simply write down AP. If that has to go to the chief operating officer, so you can simply write down COO. So this is how you can write down the abbreviations and acronyms for the short versions which are familiar within the company. Now if outside the company you say that she is APO or he is APO, or that person is working as AP, or that person is working as MM in so and so organization, nobody would understand that. But within the organization this scenario is so very much clear. So you don't have to elaborate the acronyms, the abbreviations or jargons in the memorandum writing, so you can freely add them in the memorandum. Another thing that we have discussed in detail was memo formatting or the memorandum formatting, where we have also seen that how it like a letter or like an email, it also begins with the date, to, from in the subject. So if you recall your memory, it starts with date, that is to be followed by a colon, then to, then from, and then the subject. So this is what are the components of the memo, and after writing down the subject you write down the list of the distribution list. So here you write down the name of the people, and then against their names they sign their name that they have received the copy of the memorandum. We also talked about the types of the memo that can be used for the professional as well as the student scenario. We have thoroughly discussed the similarities and the differences between memo, letter and email, and I hope that you remember that we started up with the destination. We started up with their destination, that what exactly is their destination. Memo and memos are basically internal kind of the correspondence. Letters and emails, they can be external or they can be internal kind of the communication. Then we talked about the format of memo, letter and email. We talked about the audiences. Audiences of email can be varying from formal to informal. You can have the varieties of the multiple audiences. Letter may also go to LaTeX and low audiences or multiple audiences, and memo would go to your LaTeX and high-tech audiences. And then we also talked about the style. Memo is being written in the informal style, since the format of the memo would be varying from company to company. And then talking about the letter, the style of the letter would highly be formal, and email can be formal as well as informal. If that's related to your business scenario, that would be highly formal, and we have also discussed some of the formats of email writing that you have you must have thoroughly practiced while after having the thorough discussion, or after listening to the thorough discussion between you and us. Then talking about the security of memo, letter and email, we have also discussed thoroughly that how memorandums and letters are secure, and emails are kind of sometimes insecure kind of a communication, because you can sometimes forget your passwords, and sometimes your email addresses can be hacked by any other person. So this is what we have also talked about in our previous lectures, and then we have also talked about the delivery of memo, letter and email, that how are they being delivered. Email are being delivered through the electronic transmissions, and then memo and letters. Memo is kind of within company kind of a rotation or correspondence, so there is no kind of an issue, and letter is being sent through kind of via TCS or via courier or so on and so forth. So this is what we have done in our previous lecture that was related to memo. As you know that we are trying to make sure that you get to know each and every kind of aspect of writing that is required in your business communication. So today's topic or today's concentration of the topic is on the resume or the CV writing, as you are familiar with this term also. Your curriculum vitae is basically one thing that portrays you in front of the different kinds of the audiences. So without wasting time, let's quickly begin with today's topic, that is resume writing. So first of all, before we actually move on to compose one good resume, let's first of all discuss that what exactly is known as, or what exactly we call a resume. A resume is a summary of your qualifications. First of all, it talks about your education, your experiences of all types, your educational experiences, your background experiences, your working experience and stuff, and then your skills. Now your skills can be your language skills, your potential skills, or any other skills that you have acquired by obtaining any kind of a course in the duration of your as you are growing up. That's a marketing tool or an advertisement on you. So a resume basically market you, or basically sell you out into the market by telling other people that what exactly you are, who exactly you are, and what kind of the potential exactly you have got into you. So that's kind of an advertisement, that's kind of a marketing tool towards making other people know about you. Like the way we send brochures of we have made one product and we have designed one good brochure for it, and then we are trying to see that how you can send that very brochure into the market. So this is one way in which you can create, or in which you can make one good resume. Basically this marketing tool or this advertisement know your audiences. For making any kind of the marketing tool or for making any kind of the advertisement, you have to know your audiences, so you can modify your product accordingly. Be prepared to spend ample time preparing resume, because resume is a kind of that paper representation of your personality, of your qualifications, of your skills, of your experiences that you have in your life. So make sure that you spend an ample time preparing your resume, because if you have not done so, maybe you won't be getting that opportunity of getting the job over any kind of in any kind of the organization where you are actually wanting to market yourself. So this is what you call a resume. How the resume is used: most often used when applying for the employment. They can be used to apply for a co-opted or the internship or summer position, graduate or professional school or leadership positions in a particular organization. So first of all, your resumes are, now let's talk about the use of resume, that why resumes are being used and why do you have to use resume. First reason that you mostly use resume once you are applying for the employment. So number one reason that you are applying for the employment. They can also be used for applying for the internships. They can also be used for applying for the summer positions, graduate or professional school leadership positions, and then each one of them would be going into the particular organization. So your resume has got one particular organization target and that would go there. Maybe you have seen any kind of the employment position available at any organization, so you are applying there. Maybe you have seen any kind of the internship program somewhere and you are applying there. Even if you have not seen any kind of the positions or any kind of internships available, even though you send your resume, in case they have positions in the future and they can hire you. A screening tool, the 10 to 20 second scan. So basically, once you are going to drop in your resume to any organization, what exactly these people do, those people who are sitting there in the HRM of any organization, they screen test or they screen your resume for at least 10 to 20 seconds. So they quickly have a look at your resume if they find anything interesting, if they find anything relevant, so that they can hire you. So you see, that's a screening tool. Basically, nobody in 10 to 20 seconds, if somebody is going to look at you, would never judge what kind of the personality you have got. But looking at your resume for 10 to 20 seconds can enable them see that if they can hire you or they cannot hire you. Resume, interview, references, job offers. So that's another use of the resume, that resumes are being used for the interviews and the references for the different job offers which are available in different companies. Now there is a slight difference between these two terms, curriculum vitae and resume. Now as you have understood, the resume is a kind of a marketing tool. Now let's try to understand what is a CV. Comprehensive biographical statement. Now what exactly is your biography? That basically your CV would provide the comprehensive statement about it, usually 3 or more pages in length. So that's kind of an elaborated copy of your biography. It emphasizes qualifications and activities. So the main focus is on the qualifications and the activities that you have done. It should address faculty roles such as teaching, research, service, professional associations and presentations. So basically it has got some roles to offer, like such as teaching, research, service, professional associations and presentations. There is a use of CV, that why CV is being used. In the United States, a curriculum vitae is used primarily when applying for the academic, scientific or research positions. So basically the things which are related to teaching, which are related to research, or which are related to scientific kind of the research are you are supposed to provide your CV, which is the detailed or the comprehensive statements about your biography. It is also applicable when applying for fellowships or grants. If you want to avail any fellowship program or any grant or any scholarships, you can provide your CV, the detailed comprehensive copy of your CV to the potential client. When seeking a job in Europe, the Middle East, Africa or Asia, you are expected to submit a CV rather than a resume. So this is basically what is the difference between a CV and a resume, that your resume would market you, would sell you out, but your CV would tell them the biographical statements about you, about your experiences and about your qualification, so that they can give you the grant or they can hire you for the teaching purposes, or they can give you the research grants or so on and so forth. So this is what is basically is the use of CV and resume that makes them different from one another. Overseas employees often expect to read the type of the professional information on a curriculum vitae that would never be included on an American resume, such as date of birth and date of place of birth, nationality, and marital status. Remember that US law on what information job applicants can be asked to provide does not apply outside the country. So the structure of the CV would be different from varying from country to country, varying from institution to institution. So whatsoever you are supposed to, required to put into your CV, make sure that you put that into your CV and no extra details should be there. Now let's pen down that what exactly is required for writing down an effective resume. Pick up your folders and registers and your pens so that you can note down each and everything as we are discussing each and everything, so that you can by the end of today you can create or you can make one good resume. So today's agenda is that we would talk about, first of all, the role of the resume. We would also discuss different types of resumes. We would also discuss different resume formats. We would also talk about the resume sections, what exactly and how exactly the resume is being divided into different sections. We would also see the additional documentation if that is required to be attached with the resume. We will talk about the miscellaneous tips and miscellaneous tales. Then we will see some sample resumes, and we will also talk about some online resources. The MS Word document is one of the biggest tool of making a good resume, and you would find thousands of examples of making a good resume on MS Office. So we would also see that, and there are varieties of the online resources where you can log in and where you can pick up any sample for making your good resume on the clear format that is being defined by so and so design or so and so theme. So first of all, talking about what is resume, as we have already discussed that resume is a kind of a marketing tool. So let's first of all talk about resume as a marketing tool. Your first tool for building a career. Now you are in a process of, you have once you would graduate or you would be one good graduate, and you would be in a process of applying into different organizations for seeking a position to start your career or begin your career with a potential organization. This resume will be first very tool for building up your career. That's kind of the first impression a prospective employer has of you. So basically you are not personally going to go there. You would simply drop your resume. Your resume would be your first impression that the employer would have on them regarding you. A selling tool that allows you to highlight or to an employer how you can contribute to the company. So you are basically kind of marketing yourself, and you are basically trying to sell out yourself into the market, that why should they hire you. If they find anything interesting in your CV, if they find anything outstanding in your CV, only then they are going to hire you for their organization. Why do they need such kind of a potential client to be hired into their organization? And how basically your CV would tell them that how you can contribute to their organization, and this is how they would be impressed with the idea of the first impression that you are providing them, that you are exactly required at their place. Basically CV or the resume is a request for an interview. Basically resume also serve as as a request that they must call you for the interview. The purpose of resume is to get you an interview. So basically you drop your CV somewhere so that the people can, or the employers, they can get your first impression, and then they can call you for the interview. Must capture the reader's interest and attention. So your CV must be, or your resume must be designed in a way that captures the reader's interest and attention. Now readers and interest and attention must be towards the way you have made your resume and the kind of the things that you have highlighted in your resume. That particularly, or that kind of portray you in front of them. They must convince the employer that you have the ability to fill their position. So your CV must be a strong description of that why they must hire you, and why do they require only you for the position that is or to fill the position that is available into their in their organization. Your resume is your big picture, a snapshot of what you believe are your most important experiences and qualifications. So your big picture would be represented through your experiences and your qualifications that you have got. That's the only thing or only essence of your whole life that you are carrying into your resume. So this is what do you call a resume, a marketing tool, a request for an interview, or a big picture of your personality. Now have a look at this slide carefully and see that how the resume is being divided into different sections. First of all, you begin your resume with your name. Of course, your name is really very important. That should be highlighted in the resume. Your address, of course, you have written down your resume, and if the company is interested in contacting you as they see your resume, you have to write down your address along with the telephone number. Then you are supposed to also write down the resume objective. You are also supposed to provide them the what exactly is the objective of writing down the resume. Profile or the summary of the qualifications. You are also going to, after writing down the objective, you are going to write down the summary of the qualifications that you have. Start with the latest qualification that you have to the that's kind of the reverse chronological order. Employment history, if you have worked somewhere, that would be your employment history. Education, starting from your education must be defined, that what exactly you, or what is the highest degree that you carry. Your skills, language skills, or any professional skills, or any potential skills that you have, and any activities like kind of the hobbies which you are exactly involved in. So these are some of the resume sections that you are supposed to fill one by one, and today I would discuss with you that how you are going to discuss each one of them one by one. So make sure that you have your pen and your copy in your hand, so that I can keep on briefing you each one of the component, and you can make one CV at home on your own. So once you have the rough draft of the CV, you may type that on the computer easily. Now there are some basic resume formats. First of all, or first format of the resume is the chronological format. The chronological resume format lists work experience first, beginning with your most recent or the current job. After tracing your work history, the chronological format continues with your education and concludes with extra skills and interests that may contribute to your ability to perform the job. So this is what you call the chronology, where you are supposed to basically begin with the work experience first of all. So first of all, you would begin with your work experience, then regarding your work experience, start with the most recent job that you have. So talking about the chronology, you would begin with everything latest that is occurring in your life. After tracing your work history, the chronological format continues with your education, that is number 2, and concludes with the extra skills and interests that may contribute to your ability to perform the job. So this is how you are supposed to write down the chronological in a chronological order, or this is what you call a chronological resume, which basically begins with everything latest that is happening in your life. Your qualification is being left behind. Now you are in a practical life. Now out of your practical life, try to see which is one is the latest job that you are doing and that you are writing down on your CV. Now talking about the second format, that is the skills format. The skills resume begins with a list of skills that relate to the job for which you are applying. So this is what you call a skills resume, which basically focuses on, or which basically targets on the skills which are required for, or which are related to the job for which you are applying. The skills resume format is exceptionally useful when you are applying for a job in a different field than your work experience. Just in a case that you want to highlight your skills related to the position that is available in the market. You have a large gap in your work experience, or you have little or no paid work experience. So this is what exactly could be the options for why do you have to make a skills format resume to be presented. The combination or the functional format, this format is useful in highlighting skills that are relevant to the particular field of work. It is best used to demonstrate improvement and achievement within the specific field of work. So this functional resume or this functional format would basically focus on highlighting the skills that are relevant to the particular field of work. So it is best used to demonstrate the improvement and achievement in writing the specific field of work. There are some other types of the resumes. A paper PDF resume, which is a printed resume for job at job fairs and the conferences. So if you have, or if you are attending any kind of the conference, or if you are attending any kind of a job fair, you take a paper or a PDF resume along, so that if you are going to see anyone, any person who is interested to hire a new potential youngsters in their organization, you may simply just give them your CV. Should be clean, concise, professional and pleasing to eyes. So in the looks, look wise, they should be clean, and they should be eye catching, as well as they should be professional, for which we would see some of the samples also. Use bullets, bolding and indentions, for which use the bullet forms to highlight different ideas. Use also bolding techniques for bolding different kind of the headings, which would be differentiated from one another. Take this resume with you on job interviews and career breakfasts. So if you are going to go to any kind of the career workshops or any job interviews, make sure that you take your resume along, because job is, or your what do you call, risk is never away from you. It is always searching for you. So make sure that you have your resume with you once you are going to go for the job interviews, into the job fairs, and to attend different kinds of the conferences, to attend different kind of the sessions, because people from different organizations, they are looking for youngsters who have this energetic blood for work. Another type of the resume is an electronic resume, which basically is a plain text resume for an online submission. So this is basically what you call an online submission resume. Typically must conform to employer specifications. So whatsoever the employers have demanded in their online CV, you're supposed to fill that just like that. Use left justified and space indented formatting. So electronic resume would call for the everything left aligned, and if desired, use plus, steric and 0 to represent bullets, because bullets are not being mentioned in any kind of the online resume. So what you can do is, for every new bullet, you can either use plus sign, and then you can also use this steric, and you can also use 0. Another kind of a resume is known as an HTML resume. It typically includes links to homepage and images. Avoid this type of a resume, because most people don't want an employer walking around into their homepage. So these kind of home pages, or these kind of what do you call them, any pop-ups, any kind of your personal pages, any kind of your personal kind of pages or groups that you have made for people to visit and to see that this is your resume, and they can catch you up on so and so link and so URL. So HTML resume should be thoroughly avoided, because people are not people sitting at the higher organizations or the bigger organizations are not, or do not have time, or do not have enough time to surf on internet to see that who is available for which field. So make sure that out of all of the resumes that we have discussed, you pick up one for elaborating or for making your resume as we move on. Now let's see the examples of each one of them one by one. Talking about the resume formats, this is what you call a chronological resume. As you can see, the name of the person, then the address of the person, then the email address of the person. Then starting with the highest thing that he has got the education, then the experience, which is basically starting from the highest work experience, that is 2002, and then 2000, and then again 1997, and then 1999, and so on and so forth. So it's moving from up to down: 2002, 2000, 1999, 1997, and then 1994, and so on and so forth. So it will be moving from the latest to the previous most. Talking about the education, the person Jimmy Zitboli has only mentioned the highest qualifications of the bachelor's he has had. Other than that, he has no other kind of the educational experiences being mentioned in this resume. Highlight your work experience in the reverse chronological order. Now this order is what you call a reverse chronological order. Be sure to not leave gaps. Now there, as you see, that there are no gaps between any of the lines. Only one line gap would be enough for making or giving a clean and a good look to your resume. No extra gaps should be there. The most widely used format for working professionals is what you call a chronological resume. So this is one format that we have seen for making up your resume. Now this is another example of the functional resume. As you can see, this kind of a resume in which highlights specific skills for which the market has high demand. Now this functional resume or the skill resume would basically focus on the professional skills first of all. Seldom used by new graduates and frequently used to change jobs or the careers. So this kind of a resume is being used for looking for the specific skilled jobs which are available, starting from the name to your address, then your phone number, then your email address, education, and then talking about the professional skills, entrepreneurship, professional sales, communication, and so on and so forth. This is how he has elaborated each one of them one by one. Now if you see that these are being elaborated in the form of the bullets, no longer paragraphs or no longer bullets are there, which may cause confusion for your reader. Now see, each and everything is being defined for the reader in a very clear way. The third type of the resume, the example is right there in front of you. That's known as a combinational resume. Highlights specific work experience. It basically highlights your specific work experience. And then highlight marketable skills, like your professional skills should be highly highlighted. Use reverse chronological order in the combinational resume. Always use the reverse chronological order, and the best resume style for these college students. So this is one very good style for the college students, starting with your name, your address, your telephone number, and your email address. You have your objective, you have your profile, you have your education. Then talking about the professional skills, also talk about the work history that you have for applying for any kind of the position. So this is what you call a combinational resume. Now let's talk about the silver bullet. I hope that you kind of don't know about the silver bullet. What is your story? This is what is the silver bullet. What slant can you take on your resume? Do you want to emphasize internship experience? Do you want to emphasize work experience? Do you want to emphasize coursework? Do you want to emphasize project experience? Do you want to emphasize research experience? Do you want to emphasize personal traits? Anything. What exactly is your story? Where do you exactly want to begin your resume? What is unique or interesting about your college experience? Now that's particularly about this silver bullet is particularly about you. What is interesting about your college experience? Talking about my recommendation, if you have an interesting internship, emphasize, if not, get one. So the recommendation is that if you have got any internship experience, try to mention that into your resume, because during your college or during your graduate life, a very few of you must have this internship experience at a few places. Now remember one thing, if you are getting this internship offer from somewhere, be be the first one to get it. And no matter that's going to be the paid one or unpaid one, money at this level would not matter to you. Money would matter once you are going to grow up. Try to look for the paper, the piece of the paper that you have, that's all you would get by the end of the day. That's your earning. You are earning something that would come in your hand and that you can show to the other people for getting the better position, that this is what I have. So internship experience, no matter are going to be the paid ones or are going to be the unpaid ones, try to, if you are getting any opportunity, try to be and try to get into them so that you can show it later, and you can also mention it into your CV later that you have got this experience previously. Most graduates have interesting project experience. Build on your liberal arts education. Demonstrate leadership. Demonstrate communication and cultural awareness into your CV. So the silver bullet says that if you don't have any internship experience, try to get one so that that can be highlighted into your experiences. Now there are some standard resume sections that you are supposed to see. Header, first of all the header, then the header is basically what do you call the name and your address and for other details, your telephone number and your email addresses also. So header is basically that portion or this portion that I am highlighting on the screen for you. Objective. Your career objective should also be defined. A position in a mechanical design in the automotive industry. Your motive or your career objective should thoroughly be explained in your career objective section, so that the people, they can get to know that what exactly is your objective for your career objective is. Then the third heading or the third section of the resume is education. You would talk about the latest education or the latest educational degree that you have. Then talking about the honors and the activities that must move towards the bottom, in my suggestion that should be downwards. Talking about the work experience, try to begin with the latest one that you have in your whole career. Also talk about the relevant courses if you have any. Talk about the skills. Now skills basically would talk about the language skills, either the language skills, any other professional skills like computer skills, any writing practices or any workshops that you have attended. Also talk about the projects that you have conducted related to the work or the position that is open from any organization. Also talk about the professional affiliations if you have any, and this is how you can move on with your resume. So these are some standard resume sections which are always there in every kind of the resume that you would come across. Now let's talking about the each and every section one by one. First of all, let's try to discuss the header section that basically would carry your name, your address, your telephone number and your email address. Now for inserting your email address, for your name, for your address, for your telephone number in your header section, let's see that what are the instructions for doing that. The first line should be your name. Of course, for beginning any kind of the resume, the first line of the resume is your name always. Larger than the largest font used in the body. So any largest font that you have used in the body, that's going to be the largest font used in the body. Like on the whole page, as compared to the all other fonts, this is the largest font on the whole page. So try to make sure that your name should occur in the largest font on the whole page. So first of all, you are going to write down your name. Avoid using decorative fonts. That can be complex, or that can be that can divert the attention of your audiences or the reader. Don't use black or gray shaded backgrounds. Try to move on with the white backgrounds, which are most prominent backgrounds for your reader. Exclude the titles like Mr., Mrs. or Miss from your CV. just simply write down your name. Like for example, if your name is Muhammad Ahmad, so this is how you will write down your name on the top of your CV. Include contact address, a permanent address, as well as the current address. If you have two addresses, make sure that you provide two headings for each one of them. Permanent address here and current address here. Include your email address. Use your UWEC email address if you have got any, and don't use bigboy@hotmail.com, these kind of addresses. Now UWEC address means that you are going to use your name as a tool of presenting or representing yourself. Now Cool Dude, Pink Baby, Funky Hasina, and these kind of email addresses are kind of, highly unprofessional, as we had been also talking about these kind of email addresses in our email writing thoroughly. Include your phone number. Change the message in machine to be appropriate. So write down your phone number, maybe right after your name. You can write down your email as well as your phone number. So whatsoever the formatting is going to be, make sure that you organize it well. Your name, your phone number, your email address, and your mailing address must be there. Mailing address must be talking about the current address or the permanent address if you have got any. Now talking about the objective section. Objective section basically is considered optional but strongly suggested, but basically that is being strongly suggested by me. Make statement clear, concise, and to the point. Bad idea, or the bad idea of presenting your objective is in a way that I want to get a job. Now this is a bad sentence, that I want to get a job. This is one bad example of inserting your objective. Let's try to see the right way of writing it. To attain an internship in the computer industry. Now that's kind of a weak, that's not specified. Good one is to attain an internship in the computer industry working with the database or network security. Now this is more specified, and this is one very good example of writing down your objective. Avoid being overly specific to single company. Now do not talk about only one company, because maybe you want to drop your CV to different companies. To attain a position at 3M Pharmaceuticals working on. Now this is more specified, so you are going to be do not write the name of the company or overly specifying one company into your resume. I prefer objectives from the company's perspectives, like to attain a web application programming position where knowledge of Java and Struts framework will add value the overall development process. So that is basically more concentrated on the kind of the position that is opened by any kind of the organization. So this is how you write down the objective section of your resume. The honors in the activities section. This section should scream that I am a leader. So make sure that once you are going to take this thing in mind, that you are the leader, only then you can write down your CV. Should only contain honors and awards earned during your time in college. You can include academic or extracurricular items, like I prefer only academic or service related items. Include a brief description, if not self-evident from the title. Award given to top performer on the capstone exam. Don't include hobbies or activities not related to the job or your story. That's good to include leadership positions in CS related organizations. It's also good to list membership in CS related organizations. Don't include volunteer work unless there is a direct and positive link with job or your story. So this is how you write down your activities section, and make sure that you are the leader of every activity that you have conducted. Now moving on to the work experience section, that is most dedicated to the recent and relevant employment. Let's talk about first of all the format of the work experience section. That basically begins with the employer and the location on the first line. Like for example, if you have worked at, let's say, Shifa College of Medicine. That is to be followed by a comma. Then talking about the location, H8 Islamabad. Now this is your experience, job experience number 1. This is your bullet number 1. Your bullet number 2 would talk about the position and the time span. You have worked as a liaison officer. That is to be followed by the time span on the second line. Time span would be talking about the year, let's say 2009, full stop. So this is how you write down the employer. Don't need the name of the supervisor, complete address or the contact information. So this is how you have deleted all the other stuff. And in the second line you have talked about the position and the time span. Use only the year and not the month and the year, which avoids time gaps. Each position should have at least 2 bullets. Explain role and contributions. Don't emphasize duties but rather emphasize the outcomes. Increased efficiency by 20%. Improved user navigation experience on. So this is how you can, talk about the outcomes of what you have done in the organization. Descriptions should be consistent in wording. So your descriptions must be defined well in the form of the words. Watch the tense. The third thing that you are supposed to take care of is watch the tense. Current job uses present tense and former job uses past tense. So another tip or another thumb rule that you are supposed to follow for writing down your resume is that for writing down the current job, write down in the present tense, and for writing down the previous jobs, write down in the past tense. Employer wants the problem solvers. So try to make sure that you highlight these kind of things by talking about the outcomes of whatsoever you have done for the organization. There is another relevant courses section in your CV. The keyword is the relevant courses. Don't include foundations of computing. Don't include algorithms and data structures. Focus on the courses that are either unique or would normally be considered elective, like computer security, like computer graphics, artificial intelligence, computer network, database systems, data mining, or any other relevant course related to the job that you are applying for must be mentioned in this portion. Employers will assume you have had the rest. So they would themselves assume that you have had the rest of the courses. So try to pick up the most relevant and the important one. The next section of your CV is the skills section. This is where you emphasize your technical skills. Like first of all, talking about your skills of the programming languages. Put in order of the familiarity and can use exposure to as the only modifier if you wish. So try to make sure that you move in the familiarity of the order of the programming languages like C++, Data, Java and all these languages of computer programming, and try to move in the sequence related to the command over the languages that you know. Platforms, it's nice to list Windows and Linux. Packages, ellipses, oracles, this is how you can write it. We make a concreted effort to use real products, so make a concreted effort to list them down also. Development methodologies, so you can also can talk about the development methodologies if you have conducted any. The next section is the project section. It's used correctly. This section can set you apart from the other graduates, other new graduates, particularly talking about the other new graduates, if you are going to consider this section or if you are going to give importance to this section more clearly. Most new grads don't get the opportunity to use this section. Show any lengthy, impressive or relevant projects to which you have made real contribution. Each project should have at least 2 bullets. Focus on the outcomes. Market-based analysis system, like this is one example for showing you. Designed and implemented a Java application for predicting future purchases based on the probabilistic analysis of the past purchase record. So this is basically talking about the outcomes of what you have done. Deployed system as a web service using XML and SOAP and an Oracle database on the back end. Used synchronized threads to increase overall throughput of system to handle up to 50 client requests per second. So you are basically going to focus on the outcomes of mentioning into your project session with what exactly you have worked on, and for each project you must have at least 2 bullets to highlight your characteristics. Now for every resume there is a supporting documentation, that is your cover letter. First one is your cover letter. Why do I need to have a cover letter with my resume? Use the cover letter to basically focus attention on the elements of your background that are particularly relevant to the company. So the company, while reading your cover letter, as it is the best representation of your CV, make sure that you highlight those points which are being written and which are being highlighted on the advertisement, that what exactly is being required by the company in you. Send it to a person, not to a place, so address the person, not the place. On the advertisement, try to look for the person, dear sir, dear ma'am. If the name of the person is not being specified, make sure that you look for the designation of the person that is being mentioned in the advertisement. Avoid these kind of the statements, to whom it may concern, or dear recruiter. These are the worst cases of sending your resume. First sentence should tell why are you writing. I am writing in regard to your position listed on. Dr. Wagner at UW suggested that as you may recall, I spoke with you briefly at. If uninvited, indicate why you are interested in the company. So these can be some of the ways of attaching your cover letter along with your CV. Now other ideas that can be written down or that can be penned down into the cover letter. Highlight your skills. Use 2 to 3 paragraphs to give an in-depth description of your selling points. Each paragraph should be standalone or could be moved to different location in the text. Close with the promise of the action, if possible indicating that you will be contacting them in the near future to set up a mutually acceptable meeting time or to further discuss your qualification. You can write it in a way that nice, if you can say that during my winter break between December 28th and January 12th, I'll be in your mine applauses. I will contact your office when I arrive to arrange a possible meeting time. So this is one good way of, just closing the promise of action with your employer. This is one example of supporting documentation, that is your cover letter. Now starting up with Mr. Now I'll read it down and you can, just listen to it. Mr. Shivrik. I'm currently a second-year student in the computer science program at Carnegie Mellon University and am looking for a summer internship position in the Cleveland area. In looking at your website, I was particularly interested in Dhokha software emphasis on providing technology solutions in areas of healthy and safety. As a candidate with a strong academic background, relevant experience and communication skills, I am confident that I could make a positive and productive contribution to your organization. My attached resume gives evidence of my strong performance in my coursework. I have been selected at Dean's List over the past 2 semesters and I'm also a member of National Society of Collegiate Scholars. My coursework has given me a rich mixture of both the theoretical and practical sides of my field. For example, the discrete mathematics and theory classes of my freshman year contrasted well with the technology consulting in the community, an upper level course that I am enrolled in where I actually am a technology consultant to a non-profit organization in Pittsburgh, helping the organization utilize technology to further achieve its goals. So this is how you can, strongly provide the outcomes for this kind of the qualifications that you have. Now references is another column of your CV that should also be attached with your CV or enclosed with your CV. Prepare a separate reference sheet if that is required or that is desired by the company. Use same paper as the resume itself. Bring reference sheet and resume with you to any interviews, job fairs and career breaks. Again, bring that resume sheet with you along with the reference sheet on the separate piece of paper. Do not mail reference sheet with resume and cover letter. If you are emailing your CV or your cover letter to someone, do not email the reference sheet. Reference sheet is a standalone document. It should include your header from the resume. So header has to be there. If this is going to be your reference sheet, make sure that you have the header that would carry your name, your email, your telephone number and your address. Use professional references only. Pick individuals that think highly of you first of all, and pick individuals that are familiar with your work. So those individuals who know that what kind of the work you do, and those individuals who think highly of you and who think that you are really a good person to be with. Always ask your references before using their name. So if you are adding anyone's name into your resume, make sure that you have asked them earlier before you have added their name into your resume, because if the call is going to come to them for providing your reference, maybe they don't know and they just try to avoid that phone call, or they do not respond to that phone call. Always ask your references before using their names. Be prepared to give supporting materials like courses, projects, and ask if it has been a while. So this is another part of your resume. There are some scannable resumes. Most large employers will scan your resume into a central database. Tips to assist the scanning process. Now your resume would be scanned within 20 to 30 seconds within any company. So make sure that you follow some of the tips that can help you through the scanning process. Do not use the italics, underlining, or graphics into your resume. Use bold only for the headers. Italics, underlining, and graphics should totally be avoided. You are not going to underline anything onto your resume. You are not going to put anything in italics into your resume, and you are not going to put any graphics onto your resume. Use bold only for the headers. So headings must be written in bolds, otherwise there should not be any other stuff that is written in bold. Use scanner friendly fonts like serif and sans serif fonts. Times New Roman, Courier, Helvetica, Arial are good examples. Font sizes of between 9 to 12. Use black ink on white background only. No grays, no browns on the CVs, just white background with the black text. Tips to assist the retrieval process. Most look up in the keyword base. Samples are Unix, C++, Java, hardware, networking, troubleshooting, testing, security, and data mining. So these are some kind of the examples of scannable resumes. There are some tips on delivery of your resume. First one, posting online. There are rules are still emerging. Common mistake is formatting that does not make the trip. Convert the text only and use PDF if that is allowed for sending the resume to the concerned person. Or if they ask about the salary, leave it empty. Do not mention that I require this much salary for working in so and so organization, because that would not leave a good impression on the potential employer. If they force salary, be honest, but don't shoot for the moon. So be honest with talking about your work experience and talking about your capabilities. Based on your work experience, seek for the best salary that they can possibly provide you from their organization. The next point is emailing your resume. Whenever you are emailing your resume, make sure that you form of PDF document. There is 75 to 80% of the companies which are running different kinds of the windows. Also include text versions in the email message. Make sure that whenever you are going to send your or whenever you are going to email your resume to any kind of the company or any organization, make sure that you have got the PDF copy, or you convert any kind of the images into JPG form so that they can be attached or they can be downloaded easily from the next party. So these are some of the tips for delivery of your resume. Now moving on to some of the miscellaneous tips, talking about first thing, using action words into your descriptions like achieved, activated, delegated, decided, invested. Now these kind of the action words can be used into your descriptions as to elaborate the idea that how you can explain it to the next person. Act like a professional. Avoid cutesy or inappropriate graphics, images, and formats. One page only. You are a fresh graduate, so do not expect that your resume would be of 3 or 4 pages. So the concept of CV doesn't apply to you being the fresh graduate. So make sure that you are going to make your resume of 1 page only. Stick to the truth. Don't sprinkle buzzwords in that you don't really understand, and it speaks volumes about your character when you can't explain your own resume. So make sure that you are not going to insert those words which you yourself do not understand. Focus on achievements and the results. Laundry lists of the duties are not impressive. So list of the duties which you are being assigned as a student, as an employer, or as an employee of any organization does not suit you. Use easy to read language. Use short and old words which are understandable by everyone. That is being said by the Winston Churchill. Get the words and punctuation correct. Errors and broken English are the kiss of death. So avoid that and try to make sure that you make your punctuation and grammatical errors correct before you send your resume to anyone. Follow the instructions. If the company asks for specific information, then give it to them. Follow up. If you said you would call, then call them and then ask them. Maintain a consistent writing style. Avoid to apply then applying. So there should be consistency in the style of the writing that you have adapted. So move on in the same tense as you are sticking to it. Avoid the use of I and my in your CV. There are some miscellaneous lists. Use all capital letters is a very bad idea while you are writing down a resume. That's one kind of the bad technique, and that's harder to read for your reader. Avoid white spaces. Now if you see, and if you there are no spaces in your line, so no borders should be there to break sections apart. Include a picture of yourself. You are not that good looking, so print your resume on a day glow paper like this will not another be a good idea. Now have a look at these pictures. Would you hire this guy? How about him? Would you hire them? No. So do not insert the pictures that you are going to insert onto your resume. So people will not look at your picture. People will look at your qualifications and your experiences. Using the several fonts to catch their attention, create a ransom note effect. This is another wrong idea if you are going to create or if you are going to use several fonts to catch the attraction of the audiences. Print your resume on the day glow paper. That's another very childish kind of an idea, so you are also going to avoid that. Illogical order use. Resume is a story. Put most interesting parts at the beginning. So do not follow the illogical structure or illogical order into your resume. Try to be focused on or try to focus on those ideas which you find most important in your personality. Focus on you and your needs. Employers have better things to do than hear about you. They want to know what can you do for them. So whatever, like I would be interested to know that what you can do for me. As in the same way, the employers would be interested to know that what you can do for them. So try to make sure that you are more focused and your needs are more focused. Use templates to construct your resume. Give cookie cutter look like lacks flexibility to your silver bullet. We would have a look at the MS Word Office samples of the resumes that would give you a clear-cut idea that which one you are going to select for your final resume. Use superlatives to emphasize your work. Great performance as and stick to the facts and figures and not the evaluation of yourself. So stick to the facts and figures and use superlatives for emphasizing on your work. Use long flowing sentences. Short, that's another bad idea. Use short sentences, and sentence fragments are fine if they are understandable, but not in the cover letter. So make sure that your sentence fragment must be understandable by your reader. Now don't make these famous mistakes. First one is education. Courses in liberal arts, courses in computer science, courses in accounting. Personal information, married 1992 to Chevrolet. Proven ability to track down and correct errors. Disposed of $25 billion in assets. Accomplishments, oversight of entire departments, that's highly unbelievable. Cover letter. Thank you for your consideration. I hope to hear from you shortly. That's one kind of mistake in your CV. Now there are some good resume examples. As you can see on the slide, here is one example. This is your resume. You are supposed to write down your contact information. That is followed by the objective. That is followed by the education experience, work experience, honors and activities. Another sample right in front of you, that's a good example, starting with the header, then your education, then relevant coursework, then skills and abilities and competencies, your experience, and then the activities. See, everything is being divided and the paper really looks neat and clean. Another example of the CV, starting with the header, objectives, summary of the skills, work experience, education and awards. Now see that each and everything on this resume is being divided thoroughly in the form of the bullets, and there are regular spaces to define one line. There are some bad example resumes, like you can see this one. This is full of text and nobody can understand that what is written within it. Another bad example of the resume, where you cannot find the header where you are supposed to write down your name and your contact information. It brings us to the end of today's lecture. I hope that you must have enjoyed seeing different kinds of the resumes. But before we wrap up and before we sum up our today's discussion, let's see some of the samples on MS Office. Now for looking for some kinds of the online or the MS Office samples on the for making your resume, on your computer screen click on the Start button. Then again click on Microsoft Office Word 2007. A screen of Microsoft Office Word would appear right in front of you. Now again click on the Start button and click on New. Now search for resumes and CVs. Here you are. Click on that and you would get the different kinds of these resume and CV samples. There you would be getting basic CVs, basic resumes, job specific resumes and situation specific resumes. Now let's check them one by one. Now here you have got the variety of different kinds of the resumes, which are the basic formats of the resumes. You may pick up any one of them and you can fill it out on your own. Like if you pick up this one, and again you would download that. Again, moving on to the job specific resumes, you would find thousands of the examples here. You may download one and you just simply what you are supposed to do is to just simply fill the portion out. So this is how you are supposed to make your CV on your own. I hope that's not a problem for you and you can do that on your own. Welcome back. I hope that you must have enjoyed looking at different kinds of the samples of the resumes on MS Office. Now quickly summarizing that what we have done today. First of all, we have talked about the role of the CV and we have also talked about the similarities and the basic difference between the CV and the resume. Resume basically is a sales tool or the marketing tool of your personality and your character towards any organization. It basically helps to market you as your qualification and your work experience to someone. CV basically kind of provide the comprehensive biographical statements about your personality, and that's kind of a comprehensive detail of your qualifications and your experiences. We have also talked about the role of the resume as a marketing tool. We have also talked about the types of the resumes, functional resume, chronological resume, skills resume, and so on and so forth. We have also talked about the different resume sections and we have also discussed them in detail one by one. We have also talked about the additional documentation of the cover letter that is also being attached with your resume. Miscellaneous tips and miscellaneous lists are also explained thoroughly for your information. So that you can help yourself make one good resume, and I've also shared with you some of the sample resumes so that you can make one resume on your own. Now as I would say goodbye to you, Here is a list of references from where the material was being taken. As I am signing off from here, what you can do is that right after you shut this CD down, go and sit on your computer, search for any particular or any good template that you can adapt for making your resume, and then based on all the headings that we have discussed today and based on all the instructions that we have discussed today, you can make your resume on your own. Remember that you are a fresh graduate and your CV must not be prolonging, that must not be a very long one, so don't hesitate if it's less than 1 page. And also, if you have any internship experience, that's well and good, and if not, what you can do is that you can simply look for any internship, paid or unpaid, around, so that you can mention that in your resume. Maybe 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 1 month, maybe 2 months. So make sure that you have one at least to be mentioned into your CV. With that, take very good care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Till then, Allah Hafiz.